Today I'm not going to talk about the second goal, of Sotasan, that is curing the world of moral ills, which is done by the other pillar, which is awareness and requital of beneficence. That is the way, Sotasan's way of curing the world of moral ills is by awareness and requital of beneficence. That is changing all the life of resentment to the life of gratitude. And so the doctrine on the tenet of beneficence, called the fourfold beneficence, is meant to provide the way of curing the world of moral ills. Today I'm going to focus on the first one as the way of delivering sentient beings from the sea of misery. Sotasan, Grandmaster Sotasan, spelled out the first pillar of the Won Buddhist doctrine, which is correct enlightenment and right practice. We read in the section which explains what is meant by the correct enlightenment and right practice. We read something like this: by being enlightened to the truth of Irwan, namely the mind seal which has been transmitted from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and that is the circle Irwan. We have the Irwan-san enshrined as the object of religious worship and also standard of moral practice. So by being enlightened to the truth of Irwan, namely the mind seal of the Buddhas and patriarchs, and also, this is important, being enlightened to the truth of Irwan, and thereby we model ourselves on the truth of Irwan, so that when we use our six senses of eyes, ears, nose, mouth, body, and mind, we should act following the middle way, that is neither excessive nor deficient. And that's the way it is spelled out in the tenet of the correct enlightenment and the right practice. I have translated the Chinese characters, even though both are the same, but I translated the one as correct, the other one as right. Why? Many people claim that they are enlightened to the ultimate truth, but there are all kinds of controversies on whether someone is really enlightened or not. Some people get some kind of glimpse of the truth, ultimate truth, which is not perfect, and still they claim they are enlightened. So WonBuddhism is teaching you should have a correct enlightenment to the truth of Irwan. And if you are not enlightened to the truth of Irwan, then you don't have the vision of the true world. And when your mind functions, the functioning of the mind could be defective or excessive, missing the middle way. And thereby, when you use your six sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, and the body, it could create unwholesome karma. And once karma is created, then you have to reap the fruit of the action's karma, and you cannot avoid it. And if you create evil karma, unwholesome karma, then the result will be something which gives you suffering, sometimes severe sufferings. Then the question is this: what is the truth of Irwan? And in WonBuddhism, we have the scriptures of WonBuddhism. The truth of Irwan Sang is explained very briefly. So in WonBuddhism, enlightenment, or seeing the nature, seeing the self-nature, should be done within the teaching of the truth of Irwan Sang. So unlike in traditional Buddhism, they talk about seeing the nature, enlightenment, and they say from master to master, or from patriarch to patriarch. Other people just don't know what's going on between the masters, or patriarch to patriarch, and so on. It's because it is said at the very beginning, when this is the story made up by the Zen Buddhist tradition, Zen Buddhism. The Buddha taught through two channels. First was through his mouth, that is, by his words, explaining the truth of the world and so on. The other one is a transmission of the truth from heart to heart. Something cannot be talked about. The ultimate truth of the universe cannot be put in words, so it was transmitted. The enlightened state of Buddha's mind could not be put in words, so it was transmitted from heart to heart. And who was the first one? It was Mahakashyapa. In front of like 500 monks or 1,250 monks, he was giving sermon, and then there was a flower on the table, and he picked it up, saying nothing, and nobody understood. But it was only Mahakashyapa who smiled. So the Buddha said, I hereby transmit the great eye of the Dharma to Mahakashyapa. And according to Zen tradition, Mahakashyapa becomes the first patriarch of Zen tradition. And the Dharma, whatever that is, which cannot be spoken, was transmitted from the Buddha now through Mahakashyapa, and the second patriarch was Ananda. And then like a 14th patriarch was Nagarjuna, and so on. And the 28th patriarch is Bodhidharma from South India, who went to China during the Liang dynasty. And he became the first patriarch of what is called the Zen Buddhism now in all over the world, but in China called the Chan Buddhism. He became the first patriarch. And then after Bodhidharma, we have Huiko, second patriarch, and third is Sengchan. And then fourth patriarch is Daoshin, and the fifth patriarch is Hongren, and the sixth patriarch is Huineng. And after Huineng, there are 5 able disciples, and Zen Buddhism spread through these 5 disciples.